Welcome back, everybody, to the Nerdy Jock Podcast, where your host every week, Kevin Ketchum, the Nerdy Jock himself, and occasionally his co-host, DK, DB Guru. We've been covering Ghost in the Shell. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Sorry, I didn't even say hi.
No,
I'm a terrible friend.
No, dude, I mean, I'm so excited to talk about this too. So I'm just like, let's jump right in. But no, life is good. Ghost in the Shell. So we're doing this series right now, right, DK? Because we are covering the new Science Saru Amazon Prime Ghost in the Shell show. So we watched Ghost in the Shell Arise. We watched the first film, which we did a podcast on all of these, by the way. They're under our YouTube Ghost in the Shell playlist. So if you want to catch up on all the stuff that we've already done, it's there and available for you guys. And I got my new shirt today. Look at that, DK, in the mail. So
looks amazing, man. I love the new design.
Dude, I do too.
I guess the original design now done through Science Saru, but yeah, it's incredible.
No, they have a lot of work to do to reclaim that title from the film, but so far so good. But today we're super excited. Why? Because we get to do Ghost in the Shell 2, Innocence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really excited to talk about this one. So, like we normally do, if this is your first time tuning into us, we always like to start talking a little bit about our personal history with the thing that we're talking about. And for me, I will say that this movie came out in 2004, so it came out almost 10 years after the original.
Right. Nine years.
Kevin and I,
some change.
Exactly. Thank you for that. Yeah, I didn't remember the number that came before 10, so I had to say almost 10. I knew it was almost there. But if you haven't listened to our Ghost in the Shell film pod, first of all, how dare you? But if you haven't, there was a lot of talk between Kevin and I where we were talking about how formative that movie was for us and how seeing that movie at a young age blew us away. The visual treat that it is, the complex philosophical story, and just the seamless execution, everything from the music to the compositing. It's just a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. And it was one of those, it was a film that for many old takus like us, it was one of the first major anime things that we really got into. But then fast forward to 2004, I'm at Blockbuster.
You're at Blockbuster.
Yeah, I'm at Blockbuster. I'm with a girl that I'm dating, and we're looking for a movie to rent, and I see this movie and the new releases. And I gotta say, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but holy God, was the cover art for this movie terrible. And it was so bad. The initial US release, I thought, when I looked at it, I was like, okay, because we'll get into what is in this movie specifically, but there is a recurring model of a doll, an AI doll that is present throughout the movie. And it's Batou in close-up in pastel colors and this doll behind him with the Major's haircut. And I looked at it and I thought, is that the Major? What the heck is this? Why does she look so weird? Yeah. And I didn't dive any deeper into it. Honestly, to me, it was comparable to when you went to the video store and you saw Return of Jafar or something, one of those straight to VHS Disney sequels that became infamous in their own right. So I slept on it. I slept on it, Kevin, until maybe 2 years ago was when I actually first sat down and said, okay, let me check this out. And it was because I was on Reddit, as I sometimes am, and there were a lot of people talking about how underrated it is, how it's this animation masterpiece. Like, in terms of just sheer animation, this movie is a masterpiece. You have to watch it. And so then I watched the trailer, which I don't know how I lived this long and didn't see it from the time that it came out, but oh my God, I saw that trailer 20 years after it came out, and I felt deep shame that I had ignored this movie for so long.
Oh, wow. Whoa. So what you're telling me is the first time you actually saw this movie was a couple of years ago, like 2020 sometime.
It was a couple of years ago, yeah.
Oh my God.
It was exactly, it was,
put a sheet on your face. Shame.
It was,
shame.
Listen, it was, look, here, I'll put on these bunny ears for the rest of the pod if that will absolve me of my crime. I don't know why they're here. They're
Well,
right here.
well,
Anyways, no, yeah. I mean, yeah, 20 years after it came out, that was the first time I saw it, just because I judged it by its cover. I thought it was weird. I didn't understand it. I don't know how. I didn't see a trailer, dude. I never saw a trailer.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Let me just segue there because I want to talk a little bit about my introduction to it as well, and I'll kind of keep this one quick too. Is that when I first saw the Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence come out, I don't know if I might have seen it in the theater or I probably saw it at Blockbuster, honestly. But like there's a part of me that remembers seeing it. I remember when I first did see it. I saw it when it first came out because I was already a fan of Ghost in the Shell, but it on its first viewing, I really, really didn't appreciate it what it was at all. Actually, if I was gonna be honest with you, let's just be honest. I really didn't even like it the first time I saw it because I was so used to the original character designs from Ghost in the Shell 1995 film that when I saw Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, even though like Batou and Tagusa and the guys look the same, everyone that's not a main character has a very different, realistic, caricatured kind of face or design. It was very different than the design of Ghost in the Shell 1. And I was like, why would they do this? What is it? What's the purpose of this? If you already have a masterpiece hit in Ghost in the Shell, why would you want to try something different? And I remember watching, as like, I didn't really get it that much. I didn't really understand the plot. I was not a huge fan. And I was like, well, we're doing this, kind of retrospective now, 20 something odd years later. Cause I did see it when I was 20 years old. I graduated in high school in 2002. And it came out 2004. So I was like 20 years old when I saw it. And I was like, that's old enough to like get, deep stuff. But I saw it and I just I didn't really give it a second thought. One reason was because Major Kusanagi wasn't really a huge part of it. But I have to tell you, DK, after rewatching it the other day, I feel so stupid. I mean, I'm so glad my taste has matured, my knowledge of cinema has matured, and it's amazing. I mean, this Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, I had an absolute blast. I made just a nice, strong Buffalo Trace on the rocks. This is a little Buffalo Trace and Coke right now. No sponsors, but it was so great to just make a nice whiskey drink. I didn't remember the plot at all, really. So I just sat back in my chair and kind of melted into this neo-noir cyberpunk world. And it was awesome. I mean, it was just so much fun. And it was so eerie too. I mean, from a film perspective, I didn't realize how it was like, it made my spine tingle. I saw it like at midnight and I was like, oh, it gave a chill down your spine. It was like watching Seven meets Blade Runner meets like Chinatown meets like Manhunter. Like it was just
you know what it was like, kind of the experience. I mean, I totally hear what you're saying.
Know, how was it for you? Yeah.
It's your experience reminds me of what it was like being a kid watching Aeon Flux at midnight on MTV, or waking up at 5 a.m. to watch Saturday anime on the Sci-Fi Channel,
Right.
and they were always playing some weird OVA or some weird film that was just crazy. And truth be told, yeah, when I first saw this movie, I didn't have the context of the first film. I wasn't thinking, oh, I'll rewatch the first film to catch me up. I'd seen it enough times, so I came into this, and it similarly, I didn't have whiskey, but my experience was just, whoa, what is happening?
Right?
This is crazy. This is crazy. I wasn't expecting it, and I gotta say, this is gonna be controversial because for those who haven't listened to our Ghost in the Shell film pod, I have rewatched Ghost in the Shell quite a bit over the last couple of months. And rewatching this for this pod, I was like, I kind of feel like I like this movie a little bit better than the first one on second watch.
What? Nani? No. I mean, we did.
Yeah, I mean, it's more. You touched on the noir thing. There's more noir. It's a really dark, fucked up plot. I mean, are we
really
far
really
enough?
Fucking dark.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, we're 3 minutes. After you get like past 2 minutes, you can cuss a little bit. It is really fucking dark. It's disturbing. This film is disturbing, man. It just it just makes the hair on your neck stick up and tingle. Because, even from the very beginning, you open up, and we'll get into more plot details in a bit, but just like the opening scene where like they, Batou this is after Ghost in the Shell, where, he basically, Major Makoto She basically becomes one with the AI and is like she's the god of the internet now. She's like a god. Basically, it's a ever omnipresent being of cyberspace. And in a lot of ways, it's like when Mamoru Oshii made this film, like I just have to give him major credit for having the balls to like experiment. Like this film, like you could see when he was having a lot of fun trying new things, experimenting with it. And even in the very beginning, you're like, well, how is this plot going to even be good if the major's not in it? Like, what are we going to do? But the kind of the emptiness that Batou feels in this film is just like a really strong character driven, motivation for the film. I mean, it really does keep you gripped because like you're like, wow, even though he doesn't have eyes to show expression, that he still has feelings of loss, of kind of maybe even, I wouldn't say betrayal, but he feels, like left behind. And it's just like, dude, just to see him trying to just make his way in this world is just a really, really great way of attacking the story. And it fits very much so in a film noir, neo-noir, kind of like a perfect old school detective story, right?
Well, you said
Go ahead.
Fincher. You said Fincher. You
Yeah.
talked about how the design changed and how that was jarring when you first saw it. I would say Batou looks more careworn at the beginning of the movie. His physical skin, his face looks more aged before. That he's
Yeah.
more he's more alone than ever. I mean, he gets a dog, as all lonely
Yeah.
people must. He gets a dog in this movie because before maybe the major was his only friend and the
Yeah.
only person he really cared about, however that was, whatever the relationship was to him, and then seeing this other thing emerge from her after he tried to save her, it's like, nope, now she's just out there. She's just
Yeah.
in infinite cyberspace, and I don't have that anymore. And he's just at home with his dog, and he's also just this brutal fucking tank of an enforcer. I mean, it's almost like he's that guy from those 80s cop movies that the chief is telling the more inexperienced cop, hey, keep an eye on that guy. Yeah.
Don't you
keep
blow up the. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a great. Okay, so we're just kind of free flowing on this one anyway. But that's a great point you make because you don't really get to see his internal like the pain and anguish that he's feeling in his cyber brain until him and Togusa break into the Yakuza's like office. He just says guns a-blazing, and he goes and kills like 40 people. And you're like, wow, he's really been wanting to let go.
Right off the jump,
Like,
too.
Yeah. He says, well, I saw
like,
a gun.
Toga says like, hey, just let me handle this. And then Batou walks in and just starts shooting everything.
Yeah, he's like, well, I tried to be cool. I'm like, no, and he wasn't. But like, that was a perfect example of just showing his, what he's feeling on the inside externally when he just destroys like literally 30 Yakuza members. And what a great action sequence that was. But let's go back a little bit to the beginning of the plot a little bit. And just tread there for a second because I knew rewatching this film, Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, and you got to keep saying it because when you make like clips, it's better to have saying the name Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence in there, but that's just insider information there. But one thing that
you
was
guys are getting
really
some SEO tips on the Nerdy
SEO
Jock
tips
podcast.
right here. I know. But what was so interesting about this is, as he walks down this alley, right? This opening sequence is like, for me, that I was hooked instantly. I mean, number one, Oshii's use of CGI in this film, superb. And guess what? I've been on the record, DK, that I don't like watching CGI in my anime. I prefer the Hayao Miyazaki style, the cell animation. Obviously, like Demon Slayer Infinity Castle used it, but in general, I'm not a huge fan of CGI in your face, like all over my anime. I'm more of a traditionalist.
Is that on the record now?
It's been on the record.
We got it.
It's on the record.
It's on the record. He doesn't. He does not like CGI in anime.
Yeah, but
CGI. CGI is a competition. Sorry.
Yeah. But this one, no, DK, this one did change my perspective on its usage. I mean, and it wasn't even sparely used in this film. But he's walking down this corridor. He's looking at his little laser eyes or whatever, like going. He sees, 3 or 4 dead police officers, and you're like, what the hell? And it's kind of this really kind of slow, methodical, great score by Kenji Kawai, even more subtle than the first film. But he just turns every corner, and like you're like, what's lurking? What's lurking? And in this shot, it establishes, he's lonely. It's dark. He's alone. You can see there's grief. There's death all around. Like he's literally surrounded by, everything that you wouldn't want your main character to have to deal with. But like that's what makes it such a great film, is that he has to deal with this stuff from the very beginning, and that's kind of his through line for the character's arc in this film.
Yeah. Well, I'd say Oshii in this movie is a much more mature director 9 years out from Ghost in the Shell, because Ghost in the Shell, there's such an emphasis on the philosophy that the major almost has to lead the audience through it throughout.
Yeah.
We have to have these touchstones where she talks about all these various things about what it means to be a person, how she feels about the fact that her body is synthetic, but she has a ghost and what her ghost is telling her. But she has one line that is the most important line. I don't know if you caught this, but if you think back to the first movie, she has this line that's a cool description of what's going on with her in that moment. But that line is ultimately what this entire movie is about. And it seems like a throwaway line. The line is, she says something to the effect of, she's talking about how Togusa and the Chief are the only 2 people who aren't cyborgs in Division 9. And she says, even my body is 90-something% synthetic. If I ever quit this job, I would have to give it all back to the government.
Yeah.
The government owns this crazy body that I have. I'm going to put a pin in that and come back to it later. But yeah, going into your thing about, and I'm going to come back to it and why that is what this entire movie essentially is about, philosophically, thematically, all of that stuff. But yeah, going into this intro, it's, and about how Oshii is this more mature director now. We're not being led in this movie hardly at all. We're kind of being invited, like a film noir. We're seeing it unfold kind of in this Fincher-esque or Chinatown-esque way, of watching the mystery unfold as though we are with Batou looking over his shoulder the whole time. And this sequence, even though there are things in it that echo Blade Runner, The Terminator, classic staples of science fiction and cyberpunk and things like that, this scene is so patient, and this whole movie really is so patient. It has the pacing of a Chen Kai-ge film. I don't know if you're familiar. Farewell My Concubine, amongst others. That was the one that I think won at the Cannes Film Festival. But yeah, it's just this patient musicality in the visuals for Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence. SEO plug. So yeah, and I'm just gonna quickly run through what the mystery is. It's gonna be short.
Yeah.
So
no, give us your breakdown.
So what Batou encounters, at the breadcrumb trail of dead cops, what he encounters is this doll that is essentially, I don't know what we can get away with saying on YouTube. Let's say this doll is designed for adult pleasure.
Recreation, yeah.
Adult recreation. And this doll has gone crazy and is killing. And right before Batou kills the doll says, "Save me, save me, save me," on this loop. It's saying, "Save me, save me, save me." And then Batou wrecks it. And basically what the plot is unfurling is this idea that all of these models are going rogue and killing people because they are trying to terminate themselves, but they can't. They have a protocol baked into them that doesn't allow them to do that. The only way to usurp that protocol is to commit murder. So in order to destroy themselves, they are destroying other people. And that is the mystery that Batou and Togusa are going throughout this movie.
Yeah. So from the beginning, the tone and the point of this film is it's already a lot more dark than the first one. The first one we're just like we're trying to find these criminals who are hacking into other people's ghosts and brains and implanting false memories to make them do crimes and such and so forth and whatnot. No, got a drink after that one, but the fact that the I know, but the fact that in this one it's like, hey, we're gonna uncover why the hell these geisha dolls are killing their owners or whatever like that, and why they want to commit suicide as well. So just that alone already lends itself to being a much more serious and darker in tone film than the first one. So, you easily, if because this wasn't based off any manga that I know. I think this was an original story.
Yeah.
But as best I could be wrong, but let me know if I am in the comments. But I think it's an original story, and I think that just it was a smart move by them to just say, hey, let's just experiment and try something different. And the fact that
this is our own universe. We're adapting nothing.
Exactly.
We're just yes-anding what we already did before.
Exactly. We have ideas, but we're doing something completely different. We're doing it a whole other style, and it still got to resonate at such a high level. It's so good. It's a really, really, really fantastic.
And would you believe, Kevin, would you believe that this is a very divisive film amongst the fan base? Not for the dumb reasons why I didn't watch it. There are people that watch this movie that hate it. The primary criticisms that I've seen are that there's too many disembodied quotes, philosophical quotes that have no context. I'll argue that point later if I find my way back to it, or I'll argue against that point rather if I find my way back to it. But that's one of the things they say that obviously just people want to see the major. There is a contingent of people who are just here for the major, which is fine. Like the major, you don't see the major, I get it. It's like seeing a Terminator movie without Arnold in it. It's like, what are you going to do? Arnold's got to be in there at some point.
No, I get that. But
yeah, I mean, again, like the Ghost in the Shell, we're running into I think that the majority of North American audiences that are into Ghost in the Shell, that their first experience with it might have been Standalone Complex. That's kind of, I mean, if Reddit is an accurate sample of the entire Western United States, North America, if it's a good representation of that, or just the generation of people who are on Reddit that also grew up with Adult Swim and all of that, it seems like Standalone Complex is this monolith, which for you and me,
so weird.
I mean, it's not. For people who didn't see the other pods, Kevin and Kevin, it's his laundry show.
It's my laundry show. It's like CSI to me. It's like it's a police procedural. Like it's very much like I'll fold laundry while I watch Standalone Complex. Like it's
right.
Personally, it just does not do the same. I mean, hell, I actually even appreciate Arise, which I didn't think was great. I was like, okay, this is whatever. But I appreciate the pace and the tone of Arise more than I do Standalone Complex, just because it moves. Standalone Complex, you feel like sometimes it's like a chore, in my opinion. And I mean, I know I
felt all of Arise was a chore. I'm sorry to people. If you like Arise, I'm glad that you do. I'm glad that you got something out of it. I was like, there's only so much you can ape the Oshii style without actually being him, because he can pull off philosophical, dark, moody. He can pull that off better than everybody else, and I felt like Arise was trying so hard to do it, and it just didn't work. Not for me.
Didn't work.
So
no, like I said, it was that was a C minus in my opinion, probably C plus, C minus, somewhere in the low C to be honest. But Standalone Complex very similar in that regard. Like I'm like, okay, it's whatever. But both of these films, the first Ghost in the Shell and the Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, really, really, really are impactful. I mean, they stick with you. After seeing Innocence again for the second or third time, and I liked it more the second time. I think if you haven't seen it in a long time, you should rewatch it because it really does leave an impact on your core. And like when earlier a minute ago you were mentioning about having all these random philosophical quotes. Well, the way I watch a movie is not only are we kind of learning on the journey with Batou, of discovery, but you kind of feel that in Oshii. Mamoru Oshii's direction as well. Like he's kind of putting stuff in there to say like, hey, well, let's try this and see where it goes from there. Like this, can it evolve? Just like AI. Like like most people have everything planned out. I do feel like, even if it was storyboarded to the T, I do feel like in those quotes, in the suggestion is that like, we're kind of on this journey together. Even as a director, you kind of felt like he was like learning and experimenting himself. And there are other films that have had that kind of like, like a Apocalypse Now kind of thing where you can see the director kind of saying, you know what, maybe my mind is changing as I'm making this film, and it's kind of adapting and evolving on a daily basis. And that's why I feel like those quotes that they're not so much to the audience as I think it's like him talking to himself, the director. I feel like Oshii's like, hey, let's put this out there. Let me just think about it, and let's just continue this story. It's like it's like he's doing 3 or 4 different things at once besides just directing a film. So like that was
well,
does that
it's
even make
interesting.
sense?
It's
Does that
interesting.
make sense what I just said?
No,
I don't know.
no. I think it made sense. I think
Yeah.
that specifically, if we talk about why Batou is saying these quotes, we see a Batou who has retreated further from his humanity in the absence of the Major, who's more isolated, more lonely. He seemed more social and affable even in the first movie. He could interact with Togusa, he could interact with other people, but he almost feels like an alien in this movie, even when he's around Togusa. Togusa's given him that side eye the whole movie. Like, hey, is this guy gonna go nuts? What's going on with this guy? And whatever
Kind of does, yeah.
whatever problem that he's having, or not problem, but whatever dilemma, whatever he's wrestling with within himself, as this person who has retreated further from his humanity, he's getting a dog, he's rattling off all these philosophical quotes. People, when they isolate, when they're lonely, when they feel like they lack purpose, they go to ancient knowledge often.
Yeah.
And some people do memorize quotes, and they randomly say them in situations. And when they do, they sound kind of crazy. And that's exactly how Batou is portrayed in this movie. He's just he's this weird, antisocial, violent man who is just constantly saying philosophical quotes, and it's unnerving. And I think that works as a plot device. I don't think that Oshii was trying to be. Wait, it's Oshii. I gotta stop saying Oishi because that means delicious. Yeah, it's Oshii, not delicious. But I think that to me was what he was doing there, and I don't think he was trying to be clever.
No, that makes a lot of sense too, DK, because that's when he's doing all these quotes and like he's frustrating all of his coworkers. Like that's the whole point. Togus is actually his real primary job is to just make sure Batou doesn't jump off the cliff. Go crazy, and when he's doing these quotes, like those are triggering for these other guys. Like, dude, I was like, why don't you just come back to us? Come back to real life. And it's like, well, what is real life? What is reality? Does it matter anymore? If you can have a doll that you get a body of a doll that makes you immortal forever, then like what is humanity? And so like all these questions that Batou is dealing with, really it always circles back around, which is why those quotes are so important and why it actually makes sense, because it's frustrating to the other characters. They're like, oh, this guy again, oh my gosh, like let's go write some poetry, bro, just go sit down, let's go do some police work. And it's triggering to them, which makes more character dynamic, especially in a film that has long pauses, minimal dialogue. You really get to live in the world. So when they hit you with one of those quotes, and then Oshii's like, okay, now we're just going to let you think about that for a couple minutes, and we'll get back to that. So like it does encourage like a lot of deep philosophical thinking. I don't know.
Well, ultimately, there are a lot of themes that run through Ghost in the Shell, but one of them is the idea of you not really owning yourself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, two competing things. One, the emergence of smart technology, intelligent technology, is a threat. Is a threat, right? I mean, in Ghost in the Shell, that's the whole misunderstanding, that the puppet master is a threat. The puppet master is just an individual trying to have autonomy and trying to live and trying to live in a meaningful way, trying to reproduce, trying to create something new, and everyone sees it as a threat, probably because it's hacking into people's brains and doing all kinds of stuff, but it's doing it as a defense mechanism because people are trying to kill it, shut it down, stop it from existing, which is not what it wants. This movie, it goes so much further into the idea of, okay, like as we as a species pursue perfection with technology and with intelligence, at what point in our pursuit of perfection does the self itself become property, become commodity, become something that can be taken from you, used against you in whatever way. I mean, we've done I think a splendid job so far, not really telling a lot of spoilers. So if you don't want to
Right.
hear any spoilers, just skip to the end right here. But
30
ultimately,
minutes
what we
in, yeah.
find out the
Go ahead.
reason that these things are these dolls are doing this, that they're trying to end their lives by committing murder, is because these dolls have the ghosts of trafficked children inside of them,
Yeah.
which is
So
really
disturbing.
really dark. Yeah,
Really dark.
it's
really, ugh. You're just like,
it's
wow.
horrific
Yeah.
because
It's horrific. And
the idea, yeah,
Go ahead.
the idea of that in the real world is it's like to like innocence being violated in a physical form is so
Yeah.
horrific, and then this elevates it weirdly to a spiritual form. It's like, we're gonna take your soul, we're gonna put it in this thing that its sole purpose is to be used in this way. It's a commodity.
Yeah.
Your soul is our commodity that we use for this terrible, terrible thing. Whew, man. It is.
Yeah, it's
Well, when that reveal happens, and it's like, whoa, and it's right at the
yeah.
end.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Oh
and then
man,
then that opening scene hits you even more because you're like, oh wow, you finally get it. You're like, no,
the save me, save me. You're like,
they'd
oh
rather be
god,
dead. Yeah, they'd rather be
yeah.
dead than have be sex trafficked basically. These children in dolls. I mean, and it's that's why maybe this is why one. I mean, obviously the plot here. It's a film that you have to be willing to look into some be open your mind to be watching some of this darker kind of material. And like for an anime back in 2004, maybe it wasn't as widely accepted as it would be now, where you see crazy murder shows on Netflix every day, stuff like that as well. So I think maybe it was just
Yeah.
it was a victim of its era, and now I do think if people will watch it again, I think they can appreciate it better in a more meaningful light, and it's very dark and disturbing, but like sometimes you don't want to run away from that, like this is what makes the film so fantastic, so interesting, is that they are willing to tackle this subject matter that most people would never want to touch, especially in this form, but
Absolutely, yeah. It doesn't feel gratuitous. It doesn't
yeah,
feel exploitative. It feels, yeah. I mean, it feels
yeah,
appropriate in the context of the film, and it's really, really dark. It's
yeah, and
horrific, but ultimately, it's the reveal that this is what is happening is in the act of saving innocence. Is in the
exactly,
act of Batou saving these children. That's when you learn, and so there is, in a weird way, some form of redemption or
yeah,
catharsis at the end because of how it ends. But holy moly, man,
holy
it's
moly,
just so,
yeah.
yeah, it's
It,
crazy.
yeah, it's a dark one, but it's I love Seven. I love all those kind of like dark neo noirs, cyberpunk, Blade Runner. I mean, all those kind of films. So in Blade Runner 2049, they actually deal with some of the some of the same concepts, not to this degree, but there are these dolls used for these purposes and stuff like that, and it's
Right.
just like it does make you think. But I don't know. I mean, any other like plot points you really want to talk about that were very interesting to you, or
I say let's jump fully into, let's talk about the cool stuff in this movie, because we
yeah,
went through, we mined the plot to its darkest depths, but I think that you can't talk about this movie without talking about Batou and Togusa going to see the soldier turned hacker Kim. That
yeah.
sequence, just mind blowing, just
So
so
yes,
cool.
okay. So this happens in the second half of the movie, and I gotta say this. I gotta mention this. I didn't do it earlier. Is that even though I really enjoyed Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, I really thought, in my personal opinion, the first half of the film was a little bit stronger than the ending. Now, I love the
Okay.
mansion scene. I loved it. I don't really even understand it. Maybe you're gonna have to explain that to me personally, because I was like, what is going on here? But maybe it's just showing that that you can all be hacked and controlled. But I did have some trouble grasping that from like understanding plot wise what that meant. But I did think the first half, before it got more abstract, I would say, in the filmmaking, that was my favorite part, but I still really enjoyed the second half too. But let's get into that. So they go on this, as the plot's progressing, they find out that like these 15, 20 guys have been murdered by these dolls. Just say dolls, murdered by these dolls, and they slowly unravel like where they're coming from, who manufactured them, like Locust something, Scotus Locust, is that the name of the? I don't remember the name of the damn company, but
I don't remember. They
end up. Have you ever seen the movie? And this is important to the point I'm trying to make right now. Have you ever seen the movie Skyfall, the James Bond film?
Yeah, the third Craig Bond film. Yeah,
with Javier Bardem.
Yes.
Yeah. I honestly feel that there's a big sequence in Skyfall where James Bond goes to see Javier Bardem's character, who was a 00 agent at one point himself. But he goes like offshore. There's this uncharted kind of island. It was like a whole, like a huge city that's just nothing's there anymore. It's an island, and it's just its own little desolate world that's like off the map where anything illicit could happen, that kind of thing. That was like the plan. I was like, I watched Ghost in the Shell Innocence 2. I'm like, wait, Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence. I'm like, this is just like that scene from Skyfall where, James Bond goes to no man's land and, has to confront, Javier Bardem's character. I was like, it's very, very similar in a lot of ways. And I was like, did they actually see this film and rip off a little bit? Because it reminded me of that completely. The whole city
could be, man. Hollywood's been ripping off anime forever, uncredited. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that gets used, but I certainly didn't make that connection. That's okay. Interesting.
But yeah, I just made it because I'm a huge Bond fan too. So I saw this, dude, that is very, very reminiscent of that scene from Bond. And I was like, well, this is 20 years before that. So they did their homework. But go ahead. Okay, continue. Tell us about the mansion scene. That's what I really want to talk about because I don't understand what the hell that was about.
Well, there's two scenes. I mean, obviously there are two scenes that involve hacking that show hacking from the person being hacked's perspective, which I don't really think we really got in Ghost in the Shell 1. But we have it. True. And how jarring and confusing it is when Batou is in the convenience store and he's being hacked into and he feels like he's shooting at people, but he's actually just harming himself, shooting himself, and almost shooting innocent people.
That's
why this movie is called Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence. Yeah, it's Innocence. Yep. It's just all about innocence, man. But yeah, they go to see this guy. They go see this guy. It's all about innocence. It's all about innocence. I don't know why your cadence reminded me of that for a second. It's all about innocence. There's so many innocent people. The most innocent people. Okay, so he goes to see Kim at this mansion, and Kim is an ex-soldier turned hacker turned doll. He's turned himself into a doll. He's completely put his soul into a marionette, but I think it's a little bit more liquid than that, where he's able to get into the net a little bit easier than maybe the average hacker, because he immediately hacks Batou and Togus' brain, and we're treated to, without over describing it, if you're here for the spoilers but you still want to see it, this scene runs these continuous loops where what is happening is changing. Right. The way that Kim looks changes, the way that Batou and Togusa react change. I mean, at one point, because Togusa's e-brain is hacked, Batou ends up killing Togusa, and so it's this whole thing where they're just trying to drive him crazy, but the one edge that Batou has is that he's got the Major, who is just in the net looking out for him, who's planting clues inside of this simulation that he knows that, Kim wouldn't know that crap. Right. So my guardian angel, as he calls her, is the one that's putting it there, and then ultimately gives him the key to both free himself and Togusa. Very trippy sequence, right? Yeah. I mean, just very trippy, very beautifully directed. Yeah, just I mean, just a work of art. That's all I'll say about it. It's confusing, but it's really good.
Yeah, I really did like it, and I watched that sequence multiple times as well, because it was fun to see that. And I also watched the grocery store scene that you mentioned a minute ago. I watched that scene like 3 different times because like this is actually really, really interesting. Just the shots were really great too. And then just what happened, I was like, what the hell is happening here? And that's, you do realize right afterwards he got hacked, because I was like, oh my God, looked like a kid. But I will tell you, it was awkward because this kid who was no kid's going to be looking at tomato soup cans like that kid was that almost got shot by Batou. But I thought that was kind of interesting. I was like, no kid's going to be like excited by playing with, Campbell's tomato soup cans. But
Mommy,
that's
another tomato soup, please.
another tomato soup, please. No.
Hey, you're doing the Men in Black logic, like when Jay shoots the little girl puppet in the head, and he's like,
Yeah.
like, she's walking through the ghetto. There's aliens everywhere, and she has quantum physics books. So she's the only threat there. So this kid in the convenience store who's excited about tomato soup, like that kid.
I was like about to. You got to shoot that. It's a spy. No, but I was like, I'm glad that he didn't. You know, thank God Ishikawa was there to like, you know, plug in and before he killed that man. But like
he was being shadowed and luckily avoided catastrophe big time. But that was
a great sequence because it really did. It served to show that like no one's safe, especially in the new world where, you know, you can be hacked at any moment by a high level hacker. So it's kind of like unnerving, man. And it was a really great plot point to show that, you know, everything is possible in this world. And then you fast forward to the mansion sequence where they finally do get through Kim and, you know, they have to figure out what's going on there. And they realize you look off in the distance and there's a tanker, which is carrying all these, you know, the brains or the ghosts of these geisha dolls in them. You realize that, you know what can you believe? What is real? What's not? And these are just stuff that they want you to think of, like in the first film. Like they do repeat some of the questions where you ask, hey, what is reality? What is it worth living? You know, like that's something that I think Batou, you know, deals with. You know, without his basset hound, he might not be so worried about that.
I would say the first film is what is. This movie is what is the point almost.
Yeah, exactly.
But continue.
No, that was great. So Ghost in the Shell is what is, and then Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence is what is the point. And I think at the end it's just, well, what did you get from that? Let's say, okay, so they go fast forward.
Going back to my rant about the Major's quote in the first movie.
I kind of jumped you on that one.
No. I ended it because I said I was going to come back to it later. I think I tried to say it, but less eloquently than I meant to. I think that ultimately what this movie is exploring is that when you pursue godlike technology or person-like technology or the perfection of your own humanity through the addition of, you know, AI-enhanced brains, cybernetic bodies, etc., humanity itself becomes property. Humanity, your own humanity is no longer yours. So it's pointless to even ask the question, what is a self? What is a ghost? All of these things that are explored in the first film. Because ultimately, like you put it, the way that Batou was talking about, if we are all just, you know, if we're these immortal gods, essentially, with perfect bodies and perfect minds, and we can be interconnected at all times and not rely as much on food, we don't have to reproduce, we don't have to do this, then what the hell is the point? Yeah. And, I mean, yeah, but I think that the answer to that question is the name of the film itself. It's Ghost in the Shell 2, Innocence. But no, Innocence.
Wait, how'd you get that? So you ordered that? Did you order that recently? As you ordered it?
I bought it, baby. I bought it.
Attaboy.
I bought it. Yeah, I bought it. I have to own this. I hope that there are special features. It does not look like there are. Man, I'm missing special features. Can I just say that for a second? Can we just agree that special features were good? Bring it back, guys.
They were great.
Come on.
I loved special features. They were one of my favorites back in the day. You know, all my Criterion collections and special collections I had there. They were great. But okay, so let's do. Okay, now that we kind of like, I feel like we got as deep as we can pretty much get on the plot, and even though we didn't go like super deep with the plot, we didn't mention. I'll post this in the beginning of the pod when we post it. Is that it's hard to watch. You can't. There's nowhere to order it. You have to buy it off like Amazon. Or you can go to Anime Retro World YouTube page, right? And you can watch it there.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if we can technically promote that account. I don't know if they have a license for it, but we can't look. We're just reporting the news, right? As of July 13th, 2026, it is 10 there. PM. It is there. Yeah.
It's there, and it's I'll include the link in the thing because it's in 4K. It looks gorgeous. The YouTube link that you sent me to watch it worked. So I was like, this is great. And
wait, I didn't send any link. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Kevin?
Yeah, you didn't send. Yeah, I mean,
I own it. I spent my money on this movie, man. I own it.
I must have.
Look,
as a false
I think
false memory was implanted. False memory implanted.
I don't think, because I kind of warped my joke a second ago. I think that the name of the film in Japan is just Innocence. I think that for obvious reasons they had to call it Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence in America, because it's like, well, we can't just call a movie Innocence and it's a direct sequel to Ghost in the Shell. We have to call it Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence. But I think that the movie is just called Innocence, and I think that innocence is the answer. It's the answer to the question, what is the point? The point is that there will always be innocence and must be protected and must be preserved. It must be allowed to mature and to develop itself. And even in a sense, not innocence, but in a sense, that's kind of who the puppet master was in the first movie. He was a fully AI thing. Everything perceived it as a threat, and all it wanted was to live and to have autonomy, to reproduce, to be a self. Innocence, man. It's a perfect follow-up. And that's all I gotta say about Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence. Sure. I'm just kidding. If you have more questions, please ask.
Well, no. I do have one thing I have a question for you. What did you think about the finale when you finally get the major, but obviously she's taken the form of one of the geisha dolls, and she and Batou team up for one last kind of battle together. What'd you think of that initially? And
Loved it.
And the ending when she just kind of it was so cold, and I thought it was perfect, right? Because in my opinion, what happens is they fight. She just says a couple words to him and says, "Well, I'm leaving now." And it was very cold. And it just
drops, yeah.
And it just drops. There was not any warmth to it. And it kind of makes sense for this film, because that's the whole point. It was that this film was never about being warm and cuddly and making you have good feelings. It's just making you say like, wow, what's the point? What's the point? When she's just like, well, I'm here, but I'm everywhere. So anytime you need me, I'll kind of be, your guardian god angel on the net. But also, I'm bored with
He's
you.
like, I miss it. I miss it when you were just a naked cyborg jumping out of windows
and swimming in the ocean. That made me happy. And it's just
I loved awkwardly asking you, why do you swim in the ocean?
Yeah, you're
I
so
miss
heavy.
Those days.
Why don't you sink?
It's like now I swim in the sea of infinite information. Like that's not as fun. Take off your clothes and swim in the ocean so I can ask you about it, please. I loved it, man. It makes sense. It made sense. Yeah, these kinds of things usually bug me too. Like there is a movie that has a cameo. I'm not going to mention it. I don't want to incur everybody's hate. There is a movie that has a cameo of a classic character right at the end who may or may not pull out a red lightsaber and just kill a bunch of people. And I hate that scene, man. I hate that scene. It's so gratuitous and fan servicey and dumb. I mean, I'm just saying, hypothetically. I liked it.
Anyways.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, it's fine. If people liked it, I'm glad they did. That's the best outcome when you watch a movie. But with this, when she shows up finally, I feel like, because she is the thing that is missing in him, weirdly. Even though in the first movie, she's barely human. She talks like a computer. She has almost an automated voice. Less so maybe in the Japanese. And in English version, she certainly sounds like a phone operator some of the time. But she's less than human. She's very cold. She's kind of like him in this movie, but less severe, I would say. But him, whatever his feeling is towards her, which I know that Kevin's shipping them 100%. He's always just like, dude, Bato's in love with Kusanagi. He wants her
a little bit. I'm so professional, but if she was like, hey, would you like to go on a date? He would say yes. He wouldn't say no. Yes.
In a second, do you want to go? Do you want to swim in the ocean? I've been waiting for you to ask me this forever. Whatever his feeling is towards him being unable to save the version of her that he had those feelings for has left a huge dent in his soul. Yeah. And so when she comes back, I mean, it is kind of a warm and fuzzy thing that she's just always looking out for him, that she's just out there in the net watching over his shoulder, and that she comes back and she possesses a sex doll to save him from the other sex dolls. It's poetry. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. So I do think if we're gonna, I want to ask you a couple lightning round, just kind of quick fire questions in a second here, just for fun. We'll
Hit
just
me.
kind of cover
Let's do
kind of
it.
bases. But I do want to say, I think the most important part of Ghost in the Shell 2, Innocence, is just knowing that, is just knowing that, you know, if you don't have a dog, get a dog. They're gonna love
Yes.
you. You get a genuine connection. You know, get a pet because you know in the future when we're all gonna be cyber bodies, at least if you get a dog, it'll love you, and that's pretty much it. Get a beer,
What's
get
funny?
a dog, get on your lazy boy, and just say, you know what? You can see in his Bato's eyes in that scene. He's like, yeah. He's like, this is it. He's like, this is a life. I was like, there's a part of me that's like, actually, not far off. No, but
And he also got what I would consider kind of like not a great dog. Like it seems like a dog that its skin just hangs off of it. It's barely
yeah,
holding on. It's super needy, and he's like,
Basset Houndy. Yeah,
that's the
that's
perfect dog. Yeah, it is a Basset Hound. That's right.
perfect dog for him.
It's funny. I don't really ever talk about the stuff that I write on here, but I did recently write this science fiction comedic thing about that very thing, about like dogs being the answer to everything, which
Yeah.
maybe I'll produce it someday. I will,
Yep.
I'll just throw that. This is the only teaser I've talked about publicly about it, but it's pretty great.
Okay,
But,
so we're just gonna go now. We're just gonna go forward into our lightning round. This is gonna be our final ratings for the film. Okay, you ready?
yes,
All right, you gotta rate each one separately.
sure.
The story, 1 out of 10.
Story, I would say for me, 10 out of 10. For recommending
wow.
it to people, I would say it would be either a 4 or an 8, depending
Yeah,
on your
yeah,
sensibility.
depending on who it is, right? But
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I'll say the story. I give it a 8.5 or 8. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I loved it. I thought it was a great story. I thought the twists were fantastic, and their willingness to go into this world and like kind of live in it. You have to stew in this cold dark world of innocence and Ghost in the Shell. But okay, so
Ghost in the Shell
10
2
out of 10.
Innocence.
So Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence story, 10 out of 10 for you. For Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, 1 out of 10. DK, what did you think about the visuals? A lot of going on here in this film.
Dude. Okay. For people who don't listen to this podcast, I often get into the details of animation. This movie, the thing that pissed me off the most about it when I finally saw it was that I had slept on such gorgeous animation for so long. We have some heavy hitters in here. If you know who Shinyo Hira is, he's in here. He did a lot of the Kill Bill Oren Ishii backstory animation. Yeah, he's in here. I mean, just it's one of those things where it's just perfectly done. The visuals, the story, everything, the music, it's all, you can just sit there, whiskey drinker no, and just let it hit you in the face, and you're like, this is what cinema is. This is what it is. Every part of my senses is being rattled by this. I mean, if you have a subwoofer, you'll feel it physically too. Or if you have a jujitsu robot like I have. If you haven't seen the other pod, I have a robot that I do jujitsu with.
Right.
So that's how I'm ushering in the apocalyptic AI era, is by fighting with a robot. But I mean, visually 11 out of 10.
11 out of 10.
11 out of 10.
I am gonna do the same. I'm gonna go the same route as you and say it was absolutely stunning. I mean, I rewound the film multiple times to rewatch multiple scenes because they were so visually stunning that I had to watch it again just because I was like, did I even get that detailed? I couldn't even appreciate it. Just how the camera's working while it had CG shots, but also had like the 2D cell animation over the CG. So it looked like the grocery store scene was just like mind blowing. I'm like, dude, I don't know how long
the blocking.
The blocking was so damn amazing. I say visually, this movie, it gets an 11 out of 10. I'm with you there. We're on the same page.
It made you feel. It didn't show you. It made you feel what it would be like to have your brain hacked into, and that was impressive. And of course, there are just these big set pieces, the parade sequence,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. I know that that's kind of the go-to thing, but for me, it's the blocking, it's the
Yeah.
environments, it's how every place feels so distinct and new and lived in.
Yeah.
All of that stuff that made the first movie amazing, this movie does even more of that. It does even
Times
more of
10.
that.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
get it. I'm
it's
there with you. Okay. Number 3, the music. This is more controversial. Let me go first on this one here, okay? Because I'm
okay.
such a huge fan of Kenji Kawai, and he did the score for this one as well. So they re-teamed for this film, Ghost in the Shell 2: Innocence. Um, I'm not gonna lie. I thought the score to Ghost in the Shell 1 was actually a lot better than Ghost in the Shell 2. It's funny because like you could hear like a few notes here and there from the first one, from the the Yuta reawakening, Yuta 4 reawakening, that like that song from Ghost in
Kevin,
the Shell 1, which is just
beautiful.
yeah.
I never knew you could do that.
Thank you. I listen to it all the time now because it's just so haunting and it gets in your soul. But Kenji Kawai, because it's so dark and it's so quiet. This film is quiet. A lot of times when it's not going crazy, it's really quiet. So there were moments where I was like, honestly, maybe it did the film more justice by not having a score kind of playing the whole time like Ghost in the Shell 1, where there's always some kind of symphonic orchestra maintaining the storyline. I mean, the storyline in the first film, in my opinion, went with the music. But this one, it's a lot more measured. It's only really used when they need it to. But I didn't feel like it had the same impact as the score for the first one did. So I'm gonna still say it was good, but I'm gonna go a little lower. I'm gonna go like six out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10.
Okay.
That's my opinion. What do you think about the music?
Yeah, I think that if you look at the first movie, we talked a lot about in that other podcast how everything just worked together very harmoniously.
Right.
The music, the visuals, the story, it all just perfect. Everything matched each other in this very harmonious way. I would say that the music in this movie is quite good. There's a
Right.
lot to love about the music in this movie. I just think that Oshii is like he was just on his game so hard
Good.
directing this movie that the visuals overtake the music in this. So
Right.
to be honest with you, I don't feel like I have a strong opinion one way or the other about how good the music is or not. Like, yes, there are themes that echo from the first one.
Right.
Could you believe that a lot of the criticism that this movie gets is about how the soundtrack is recycled? I mean, I don't think that that's a fair point. I think that if
I
you
don't think
watch
so.
Empire Strikes Back starts with the exact same theme as A New Hope and Return of the Jedi and all of the rest. So yeah,
Ghost in the Shell
that's the
2
thing.
Innocence. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna. Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence has similar similar notes, but it's not the same score at all. I mean, I don't think they hit anything from the first one. Because I actually paid close attention to the score for Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence here to make sure, like, to see if you get like callbacks, but you don't really get a definitive like, oh, we're using like, not like the theme from Ghost in the Shell 1 or like a Star Wars,
Right.
John Williams score. You're not doing that. But anyway, so give me a number. I need a 1 through 10.
I mean, I'll give it an 8.
Rapid fire. Okay, 8. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Good one. Okay, characters. What do you think? There's some interesting characters in there. We didn't even talk about the Haraway, the lady who was working for the cyber crimes, and she's like, talking about the bodies and all the geishas and all that. Like, that was an interesting character as well. Even though she only was in there for one scene, she made a pretty impactful impression, at least when I watched it the first time. So that was kind of an interesting scene. But you got, Togusa, Ishikawa, a little bit there, but mainly it was a Batou.
Yeah.
It was Batou show, right? It was a Batou show. So
And the dog.
characters. And the dog, obviously.
I would say
that.
I would say that character is only good if relationship is good. And I
Right.
think that in terms of character, I would have to rate this movie a little bit higher than the first one just because
Yeah.
the relationships felt so much more consequential.
Right.
The way that Togusa has been working for Batou for years can look at his partner or boss or whatever with that mistrust. Is this guy going to go off the handle and do something that's going to get me killed?
Yeah.
The way that Ishikawa has to shadow him to make sure that doesn't happen, but the way that
And he gets frustrated with him and angry and
Yeah.
mad.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and
Disappointed.
the way that but Section 9 can't afford to lose Batou. He is the best that they
Yeah.
have. So it's that, again, going back to the commodification theme. It's like, yeah, this guy might be a loose cannon. He might be trouble. We might need to put every manacle on him that we possibly can to keep him under our thumb. But at the end of the day, we need him to do everything. We need him.
Yeah.
He's the best. We need him to do everything. So I will say, and again, this isn't saying anything bad about the first one. I think that this movie, if anything is definitively better about this movie than the first one, it is the relationships that the characters have with one another being much stronger, more defined. So I give it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, and I agree. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. And I'd say even Bato's longing and searching for what he was missing when he had Major Kusanagi in his life was a great character moment, which is like that's so ballsy. I mean, imagine saying we're gonna make Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, and we're not even gonna have the main character from Ghost in the Shell. We're gonna use the sidekick. He's our main character now, and it's gonna be a rather sad and depressing but still amazing story. Like that's pretty damn ballsy. You don't make Superman and you don't kill off Superman and have the second film be called Superman 2 Lois Lane. And just not have Superman. I mean, it's pretty.
Didn't Kevin Smith do that with He-Man? Didn't Kevin Smith do that? Like he made a show called He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and He-Man was murdered in the first episode. Yeah.
Yeah. So dumb.
I never saw it. I heard about it.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah.
I did see the new Masters of the Universe movie, and I rather enjoyed it. I was like, it's worth. I thought it was super cheesy, kind of stupid, but honestly, I was like, I'd see a sequel. Like I would go back.
Okay, rapid fire.
Themes.
Plot, characters, and music of Masters of the Universe. Go. Just numbers. 3 numbers. Go.
Plot 7. Music 7. Characters 9. Like they did a good job on the characters. Like the characters were great relationships. Even the bad guys, even Skeletor, even Adam as He-Man. To Idris Elba's character. And all the other guys. Like, I'd say they did a good job. Yeah, and visually, I'd say like a 9 out of 10. They really nailed it. They got the character designs right, really, really good. I thought Skeletor was a little too CGI for me, to be honest, but like overall, I thought they did pretty damn good. Like it was like I was
cool.
like, you should. It's like a 7 out of 10. I'd say like it was better than people say. I enjoyed it. Anyways,
but compared to Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, though, I'm just kidding. Get your question. I'm sorry.
Ghost in the Shell is way better. Okay. The themes, 1 to 10. What do you think? Themes, 1 to 10. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to give me a number. 2 seconds.
11.
Okay, perfect. Great themes. It definitely gives itself to rewatchability, which is so funny to me because like my younger self didn't appreciate this film nearly as much, and I'm kind of ready to watch it again. I just got done watching. I really want to rewatch it. I'm like, that's how good this was. It gets better, right?
Well, you said that it was ballsy to make a movie without the Major in it, and that's I think the reason that I avoided watching it for so long. I was like, how can you? I mean. Yeah. In my defense, Ninja Scroll the series had come out the year before, and it was not the same as Ninja Scroll, and it was to me very disappointing. So I felt like this was just going to be more of that.
Okay, speaking of, we literally just mentioned it, but rewatch value. You bought it on. You just bought it on.
Rewatch value.
Rewatch.
I mean, okay. This is like the end of Evangelion, where you kind of have to take a little break and think about it. So I would say, like as a once a year movie, like I'd give it a 7. I give it a 7. Yeah, I give it a 7.
I'd say after rewatching it, I'd say the rewatch value for me is a lot higher. Like I actually do want to go back. I'd say give it a little breather and then go back to it and rewatch it. But Evangelion's coming into theaters in August 22nd, so I'm gonna go see it again. I saw it like last year. I see it every time it's at theater. My favorite movie of all time. Actually, look at this, dude. I'm gonna take one quick segue and we'll get back on point.
Please, segue.
Dude, so many people who watch our shorts on our pod when we're gushing about Ghost in the Shell 1, they're commenting like, "Oh, look at this guy just finding Ghost in the Shell now. Who do these guys think they are, bro?" How many times do me and DK have to tell you we were like literally the old school fucking fans, guys. This is a bootleg copy of End of Evangelion on a VHS with fan subtitles. I got this shit when I was like in middle school. This is from the early 90s, bro. So you guys who think I'm like just jumping on the anime train, you guys don't know what the hell you're talking about, man. This is legit a end of Evangelion VHS tape from the 90s, bro.
If you had watched the
Yeah.
hundreds of hours of Dragon Ball content we've made on this channel, you would have heard us mention multiple times that we wanted
Yes.
to cover Ninja Scroll, Ghost in the Shell, Akira. We've talked about it many times.
We have seen thousands and thousands of series and films and anime. Thousands. I guarantee you, they're in the upper thousands, maybe even 10,000, like a lot. So
Well, I
we
don't
know
know
what
about
we're
that. I don't know about 10,000.
well, at least thousands. So, we know what we're talking about. This is an old copy. I got this back in Memphis when I was back. My brother gave me. He's like, "Hey, man, you still have this tape here?" And he has all the VHSs. But I was like, "That's my bootleg from my favorite series of all time." Anyways, okay.
Yeah.
Overall, last final grade, and we can wrap this bad boy up. But I'm glad I got
know-
to vent for a second there. I kind of need to let that go because these guys are
No.
annoying.
10 out of
Right.
10. Love the movie.
10 out of
Love
10.
it.
I think it's
Yeah.
great. I mean, I'm kind of with you. You made this point early on that as controversial as this might be, Ghost in the Shell to Innocence as a film, in my opinion, might be better than Ghost in the Shell. But
Yes.
that's just my own personal. It's more about personal tastes. Like I love
We might
Right.
burst in the flame for saying it, but no,
yeah.
I mean, just it really.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Listen. We live in a world where Ghost in the Shell 1995 has been copied multiple times. Standalone
Yeah.
Complex, Arise. It's so much so that people are hating on the new series because
2045.
it doesn't match the tone of those things that it was copying. But this film is the only film that took that feeling from that movie and made it bigger.
And different
Yeah,
too. I
yeah,
mean, yeah.
like
it expanded.
exactly. You can watch this movie and go back and watch the first one and get a new appreciation for it
Yeah.
that you didn't have before, and that's what makes it so special. So yeah, as a film, if I'm looking at Oshii as just a filmmaker, I'm like, bravo, dude. I don't know if he adapted anything for this or if this was just his original story or whoever wrote the screenplay. I should know that.
Awesome.
Who wrote the screenplay? Tell us in the comments who wrote this. But it's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece of original content that expands perfectly on what came before.
Yeah, I loved it, and the fact that Oshii said, "Hey, I'm gonna make a sequel, but I'm also gonna do something completely different." Like just to experiment as an artist and a director, you really get a better appreciation because it's not like a carbon cut copy. They don't use the same character designs. It's not even. There's a lot of ways it's very different, which could piss a lot of fans off. You know, even from the plot, even not having Major Kusanagi, like all that stuff is pretty damn impressive. Like. In 2025 in Hollywood, they would have had the film being about, okay, Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, Batou has to try to find Major Kusanagi in the web, right? That's not what this film's about at all. You know, like that's what they would have said. We have to find her. That's the character's motivation. I'm like, no, he's like, it's like she doesn't want to be found. You know, that's what's crazy. It's like, hey, I don't belong to you. I'm a friend. I'm watching over you, but like, figure your own shit out. Now that's what's so cool about this film. It's like it's not apologetic. It just does its thing. So 10 out of 10. I'm with you, dude. I was so impressed on the rewatch. I was so surprised how much I really enjoyed it because I remember the first time I saw it decades ago, I really didn't enjoy it as much at all.
Yeah.
And just rewatching it really, really gave me a new appreciation for Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence.
And hey,
Any
if
final
you're
thoughts?
out there, if you're out there and you're one of the people on Reddit that hates this movie, and fair play. Like if that's how you feel about the movie, that's fine. But if that is off of your first watch, I would say give it one more watch. Just give it another shot. Yeah,
Because it changed for me too. I didn't like it the first time either, to be honest. So I'm with you.
So I mean, I'm glad that we covered it. After we did the film and we started doing the series, I was like, we have to do Innocence. And then when I saw your text talking about how you felt about it, I was like, yes, we got a pod, man. We got to talk about this freaking movie.
Yeah, we were gonna make this one like a 30-minute, an hour and 10. So like sometimes you just talk about the stuff you love, and we love.
That's
anime,
mainly my fault. I'm the one who makes these things go long. But hey,
no, I love a long pod every now and then.
If you like listening to us talk about Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence, why don't you pop on over and listen to us talk about the ongoing The Ghost in the Shell Prime show? that's currently airing. We'll be covering episode 2 this week. It airs tomorrow from the time of this recording. I don't know in what order we're going to release these pods, but check it out. We so far are enjoying it. We love it. And we'd love to hear how you feel about it as well.
We have the Ghost in the Shell playlist working right now on nerdyjock_media on YouTube. So like, subscribe, follow us, and we're going to just continue just churning out great content for you guys. So tell us what you think. Tell us your thoughts. Tell us your dislikes. But don't tell us too much what you dislike. Just say kind of. Just kidding. No, we support your free expression. But, man, the Redditors, they went after me. So I just can't do the Reddit. I'll just do every other social media. But either way, DK, man, it's always a pleasure. It's great having you back on the pod, and I can't wait to do this again tomorrow night. I mean, we're going to shoot again tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, man. Episode 2. Let's go.
I'm going to try to edit that pod after we shoot and then, go from there, and maybe even have it out by Wednesday morning is my hope. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I can't make any promises, but until next time, plug in, make sure your ghost isn't hacked, and just have a wonderful evening, right? Okay.
Right.
Os! Os, that was the worst os ever. Ready? Os! There we go. Okay, that was good. Okay, we'll see you later, DK.
Have a good night, man.
Yeah, peace out, brother.